I didn't expect my 21st birthday to be the night everything blew up. Not in a dramatic, movie-style way, but in that quiet, real-life way where one moment shifts, and suddenly nothing between you and the person you trust most is the same again. And the worst part? It wasn't even supposed to happen. It started off normal. Actually, better than normal. I'd been planning this party for weeks, nothing huge, just a small get-together at my apartment. A few close friends, some drinks, music, the usual. Turning 21 felt like one of those milestones you're supposed to celebrate properly, you know? Cameron was the first one to show up. Of course he was. He always was. "Birthday boy!" he shouted the second I opened the door, holding up a case of beer like it was some kind of trophy. I laughed, stepping aside to let him in. "You're early. Someone's gotta make sure you don't screw this up." He smirked, brushing past me like he owned the place. That was Cameron. Confident, loud, effortlessly charming. The kind of guy everyone gravitated toward without even realizing it. Tall, athletic, always surrounded by people, especially girls. And yeah, completely straight. At least, that's what I had always told myself. We'd been best friends since high school. Same classes, same stupid inside jokes, same late-night talks about everything and nothing. He knew me better than anyone. Well, almost everything. Because there was one thing I never told him. Not once. The music started, more people showed up, and within an hour my apartment was full. Laughter, bottles clinking, someone arguing over the playlist. It felt alive in that chaotic, perfect way parties sometimes do. Cameron was in his element. At one point, I spotted him in the kitchen, surrounded by a couple of girls, telling some exaggerated story with his hands moving all over the place. They were laughing, completely hooked on every word. I should have been used to it. But I still felt that same quiet twist in my chest. It wasn't jealousy exactly. Or at least, that's what I kept telling myself. I grabbed another drink and tried to ignore it, drifting through the crowd, making small talk, pretending I wasn't constantly aware of where he was. That was the exhausting part. Caring too much, while acting like I didn't. Around midnight, things got louder. Drunker. Someone suggested a drinking game, and before I knew it, we were all crammed into the living room. "Truth or drink?" one of my friends yelled. Of course. I should have known. I ended up sitting across from Cameron, our knees almost touching in the tight circle. He flashed me that easy grin, raising his cup. "Don't go easy on me just 'cause it's your birthday," he said. I rolled my eyes. "I won't." But my heart was already beating faster. The game started off harmless. Stupid questions, dares, people chickening out and taking shots instead. The usual chaos. Until it wasn't. It happened so fast I didn't even have time to think. "Jordan," someone said, grinning. "Truth or drink?" "Truth," I said without hesitation. Big mistake. A couple people exchanged looks. The kind that immediately made my stomach drop. Then one of them leaned forward slightly, smirking. "All right, so be honest. Have you ever had a thing for someone in this room?" The circle went quiet in that way that only drunk people can manage, half amused, half waiting for something interesting to happen. I laughed it off at first. "That's your big question? Answer it," someone else chimed in. I shrugged, trying to play it cool. "I mean, yeah, probably. It happens." "Who?" another voice pushed. And just like that, I felt trapped. My instinct was to deflect, to joke, to turn it into nothing. But then I glanced up. And Cameron was already looking at me. Not laughing. Not distracted. Just watching. Something about that look, it made it harder to lie. "I'm not naming names," I said, trying to brush it off. "Come on," someone groaned. "That's boring." "Yeah," Cameron added, his tone lighter, but his eyes still locked on mine. "Kinda weak, man." I let out a breath, forcing a smirk. "All right, fine. I'll answer properly." I don't know why I did it. Maybe it was the alcohol. Maybe it was the pressure. Or maybe I was just tired of hiding. My fingers tightened slightly around my cup. Yeah, I said. I have. Who? They pushed again. And before I could stop myself. It's a guy. The room went silent. Like actually silent. You could feel it shift. A couple people laughed nervously, thinking I was joking. But I wasn't. And when no one else spoke, it hit them. I wasn't joking. I could feel every pair of eyes on me now. But I didn't look at them. I looked at Cameron. Because if there was one reaction that mattered, it was his. At first, he didn't say anything. He just stared at me, like he was trying to process what I had just said. Wait, someone muttered. You're serious? I nodded slowly. Yeah. And just like that, everything changed. Cameron leaned back slightly, running a hand through his hair, letting out a quiet breath like the air had been knocked out of him. Dude, one of our friends said. You never told us that. I didn't think it mattered, I replied, though my voice wasn't as steady as I wanted it to be. But Cameron still hadn't said anything. And that silence? That was worse than anything. Cam? Someone nudged. You good? He blinked, like he had just snapped back into the moment. Yeah, he said quickly. Yeah, I'm good. But his voice. It wasn't normal. Not even close. And then he looked at me again. Really looked at me this time. Different. Like he was seeing me for the first time. And I swear, that was the moment I knew something was about to happen. Something none of us were ready for. Something that would make this birthday the one I'd never forget. The energy in the room didn't recover after that. People tried, someone laughed, someone made a joke about finally getting some diversity in the group. Another person clapped me on the shoulder like I'd just made some big announcement, but it all felt forced. Like everyone was suddenly aware of me in a way they hadn't been before. And Cameron? He got quieter. Not immediately obvious. If you didn't know him like I did, you probably wouldn't have noticed. He still smiled, still nodded along, still played the game. But he wasn't really there anymore. And I couldn't stop watching him. I hated that I cared so much about his reaction, but I did. More than anything else in that moment. After another round or two, he stood up suddenly. I need some air, he muttered, already heading toward the balcony. No one stopped him. No one really questioned it either. People stepping out for fresh air during a party wasn't exactly unusual. But something about the way he said it. It felt off. I waited maybe 30 seconds. Tried to act normal. Failed. Then I stood up too. Bathroom. I mumbled to no one in particular, slipping out of the circle and heading in the same direction. The balcony door was slightly open, cool air slipping through into the stuffy apartment. Cameron was leaning against the railing, his back to me, shoulders tense. For a second, I just stood there, watching him, trying to figure out what the hell I was supposed to say. Hey, I finally said. He didn't turn around right away. Hey, he replied, quieter than usual. I stepped out, letting the door slide shut behind me. The noise from inside dulled instantly, replaced by the distant hum of the city and the faint bass of the music. You good? I asked. Stupid question. He let out a short breath, almost like a laugh, but there was no humor in it. Yeah. I just needed a minute. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. Silence settled between us. Heavy. Awkward. Nothing like how it usually was with him. We never struggled to talk before. Not once. Until now. You could have told me, he said suddenly. That hit harder than I expected. I know, I admitted. He finally turned around then. And yeah, I wasn't wrong earlier. The way he was looking at me now. It was completely different. Not angry. Not disgusted. Just intense. Since when? He asked. I shrugged slightly, leaning back against the wall. A while. That's not an answer. I huffed out a breath. High school. I guess. His eyebrows pulled together. High school. Yeah. He ran a hand through his hair again, pacing once across the small space before stopping in front of me. So all this time. He started, then stopped himself. I knew what he was trying to ask. No. I cut in quickly. Not like that. His eyes snapped back to mine. Not like what? Not with you, I said, forcing the words out before I could overthink them. That was a lie. A big one. But I wasn't about to make things worse. Cameron studied me for a second, like he was trying to decide if I was telling the truth. Right, he said finally, though he didn't sound convinced. Another silence. God, I hated this. I didn't tell you because I didn't want things to get weird. I added. He let out a quiet, almost incredulous laugh. Too late for that, don't you think? Yeah. He wasn't wrong. I'm still me. I said, my voice quieter now. Nothing's changed. Something flickered across his face at that. Yeah. He muttered. That's kind of the problem. My chest tightened. What does that mean? He hesitated. And for a second, I thought he was just going to brush it off. But then he looked at me again. Really looked at me. And whatever filter he usually had? It was gone. It means I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do with this, he said. I frowned. Do with what? With the fact that my best friend. He gestured toward me, frustrated. Just dropped that on me in the middle of a party like it's nothing. I didn't say it was nothing. I shot back. Then why didn't you tell me before? Because I didn't want to lose you. The words came out sharper than I intended. That shut him up. For a second, either of us moved. The air between us shifted again. More honest now. More dangerous. You really thought I'd just, what? Walk away? He asked, quieter this time. I didn't know. I admitted. People do. He stared at me. And then something changed. Not in a dramatic way. Subtle. But I felt it. Who is it? He asked. My stomach dropped. What? The guy. He clarified. The one you said you had a thing for? I shook my head immediately. Drop it, Cam. No, he said. You don't get to say something like that and then just, what? Pretend it doesn't matter? It doesn't. Bullshit. I clenched my jaw. Why do you even care? The second I said it, I knew that was the wrong question. Because his reaction? Immediate. Because it's you. He snapped. That hung in the air between us. Raw. Unfiltered. And then, before I could even process it, he stepped closer. Too close. Close enough that I could see the tension in his jaw, the way his chest rose and fell a little faster than normal. Just tell me, he said, his voice lower now. Who is it? My heart was pounding so hard it felt ridiculous. I should have shut it down. I should have laughed it off again. But standing there, with him that close, looking at me like that, I couldn't. You don't want to know, I said quietly. Yeah, he replied, not breaking eye contact. I do. And that's when everything really started to spiral. Because in that moment, I realized something. Cameron wasn't just shocked. He wasn't just confused. He was affected. And I had no idea what that meant yet. But I was about to find out. I should have lied. Even now, looking back at it, I know that would have been the smart move. Just say some random name, laugh it off, let the night die down and pretend none of it ever happened. But I didn't. Because Cameron was standing right in front of me, close enough that I could feel the heat coming off him, looking at me like he wasn't going to let this go. And the worst part? A small, reckless part of me didn't want him to. You don't want to know, I said again, quieter this time. His jaw tightened. Stop saying that. Why? I shot back. So I can make things even more awkward? They're already awkward, he said. Just say it. I let out a slow breath, shaking my head. This is a bad idea. Jordan. he said, firmer now. Just tell me. There was something in his voice. Not just curiosity. Something heavier. And that's what pushed me over the edge. I looked at him, really looked at him, trying to memorize the version of this moment before everything changed. Then I said it. It's you. For a second. Nothing. No reaction. No movement. Just silence. Like the world had paused and was waiting for him to catch up. And then it hit him. I saw it happen in real time, the way his expression shifted, the way his eyes flickered slightly, like something inside him had just been knocked loose. Me? He repeated. I nodded once. Yeah. Another pause. Longer this time. Since when? He asked again, but his voice had dropped. I gave a small, humorless shrug. Does it matter? Yeah, he said immediately. It does. I hesitated, then exhaled. Since high school, I admitted. That one landed. Hard. Cameron took a step back this time, running both hands through his hair like he was trying to physically process it. Dude, he muttered under his breath. I told you didn't want to know. Yeah, well, he let out a sharp breath. Kinda late for that now. I stayed where I was, forcing myself not to retreat, even though everything in me was screaming to. I didn't act on it, I added quickly. I never made it weird, I never. I know, he cut in. That stopped me. He looked back at me, and there was something different in his eyes now. Less shock. More something else. I know you didn't, he repeated, quieter. Another silence settled between us. But this one? It didn't feel the same as before. It wasn't just awkward. It was charged. Complicated. Why didn't you ever say anything? He asked. I let out a small laugh. Seriously? I'm asking. Because you're straight, Cameron, I said like it was obvious. Because you talk about girls all the time. Because you've never given me a single reason to think it wouldn't completely mess things up. He didn't argue with that. Didn't deny it. Which somehow made it worse. I didn't want to lose you, I added again, softer this time. That part was the truth I couldn't hide behind anything. Cameron looked away for a second, jaw tight. Then back at me. You think you're gonna lose me now? He asked. I didn't answer right away. Because I didn't know. I don't know, I admitted. And that honesty? It hit harder than anything else I'd said. He exhaled slowly, like he was trying to steady himself. Then he stepped closer again. Not as aggressive this time. More deliberate. You're not losing me, he said. I searched his face, trying to see if he meant it. You sure about that? I asked quietly. Yeah, he said. But there was hesitation there. Small. Almost unnoticeable. But I caught it. And I think he knew I did. Because right after that, something shifted again. His eyes dropped for a second. To my lips. Just for a second. But it was enough. My breath caught. And I swear, he noticed that too. Cam, I started, not even sure what I was going to say. But he didn't let me finish. Has it always been me? He asked suddenly. The question caught me off guard. I frowned slightly. What? The guy, he clarified. Was it always me? I hesitated. Because the honest answer? Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, I said finally. Something about that answer. It did something to him. I could see it. The way his posture shifted. The way his breathing changed, just slightly. Like the weight of it was finally settling in. Damn, he muttered under his breath. Then he looked at me again. And this time? There was no confusion in his eyes. No hesitation. Just something intense. Something I couldn't quite read yet. You really hid that well, he said. I had to, I replied. Another pause. But this one felt different. Quieter. Closer. Does it still feel the same? He asked. My heart skipped. What? No, he said. Standing here. I swallowed. He was too close again. Close enough that I could feel the tension building between us, thick and undeniable. Yeah, I admitted barely above a whisper. And that's when it happened. Cameron stepped even closer, closing the last bit of space between us. And I swear, my brain just stopped working. Even now? He asked, his voice low. I nodded. Couldn't even trust myself to speak. He held my gaze for a second longer. Then his hand moved, grabbing the front of my shirt lightly. Not rough, but not hesitant either. Then that's a problem, he said. But the way he said it didn't sound like he wanted to stop it. If anything, it sounded like the opposite. And right then, I realized his reaction wasn't what shocked everyone. It was what he was about to do next. For a second, I didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't think. Cameron's hand was still gripping the front of my shirt, his fingers curled into the fabric like he wasn't sure if he was holding me there, or holding himself back. We were way too close. Closer than we had ever been before. And the craziest part? Neither of us pulled away. Cam, I said again, my voice low, uneven. He didn't answer. His eyes were locked on mine, searching, intense, like he was trying to figure something out in real time. Or maybe, finally admitting something to himself. You said that like it's a bad thing, I added, trying to steady myself. That it's a problem. His jaw tightened slightly. It is, he said. But he didn't let go. Didn't step back. Didn't create any distance at all. If anything, his grip tightened just a little. Then why are you still this close? I asked. That got to him. I saw it. A flicker of something, conflict, maybe. Or frustration. With you? He said quietly. I don't know. And that? That was the most honest thing he'd said all night. The music from inside thumped faintly through the glass behind us, voices rising and falling, completely unaware of what was happening out here. It felt like we were in a different world. Just the two of us. You don't know? I repeated. He shook his head slightly, exhaling through his nose. I should be weirded out, he admitted. Or at least, I don't know, creating space or something. But you're not. No, he said. His eyes dropped again. Just for a second. To my lips. And this time? It wasn't subtle. My chest tightened. Cam, I warned, even though I didn't move either. I know, he muttered. But he didn't step back. Didn't let go. Instead, he leaned in slightly. Not enough to close the gap. Just enough to make my heart slam against my ribs. This is messed up, he said under his breath. Then stop, I said. But there was no conviction behind it. He let out a quiet, almost breathless laugh. You don't sound like you want me to. I didn't. And he knew it. That realization hung between us for half a second. And then everything snapped. Because the balcony door suddenly slid open. Yo, you guys! The voice cut off instantly. We both turned. And yeah, that was the moment everything exploded. Two of our friends stood there, frozen. Eyes wide. Taking in the scene. Cameron's hand still gripping my shirt. The distance between us, basically nothing. The tension so obvious it didn't need explaining. Oh shit! One of them muttered. Cameron stepped back immediately this time, like the moment had physically burned him. I felt it too, the snap back to reality. Too late. Way too late. It's not. I started, but I didn't even know how to finish that sentence. Because what exactly was it? The look on their faces said everything. Shock. Confusion. And something else. Curiosity. Dude, the other one said, looking between us. What the hell is going on? No one answered. Cameron ran a hand through his hair again, pacing once like he needed to move or he'd lose it. It's nothing, he said quickly. Too quickly. No one believed that. Nothing? one of them repeated, raising an eyebrow. You were literally. I said it's nothing, Cameron snapped. That shut them up. But it didn't fix anything. If anything, it made it worse. Because now there was attention. Real attention. More voices started drifting toward the balcony, drawn by the tension. What happened? Why is it so quiet? Yo, what did we miss? Within seconds, more people were crowding near the door, trying to see past each other. And just like that, the private moment we had tried to keep contained was completely gone. Exposed. Guys, chill, I said, trying to defuse it, but my voice wasn't steady. Too many eyes. Too many questions. And then someone said it. Wait, is this about what Jordan said earlier? Silence. Heavy. Everyone looking between us again. Putting the pieces together. Oh, another voice chimed in. No way. I closed my eyes for half a second. This was exactly what I didn't want. Cameron looked like he was about to lose it. Can you all just back off? He said, his voice sharp, tense. But no one moved. Because now they were invested. Now it was drama. And then someone laughed. Not in a mean way. More like disbelief. Bro, he said, shaking his head. Are you serious right now? That did it. Cameron snapped. Yeah, he said, stepping forward suddenly, his voice cutting through everything. I am. The room went dead quiet again. Every single person staring at him now. Waiting. And whatever hesitation he had before? Gone. Because the next thing he did, no one saw coming. Not even me. He turned, grabbed me again. And this time? He didn't stop. Everything after that happened so fast it didn't even feel real. 1 second Cameron was standing in front of me, tense, breathing hard, everyone watching. And the next? He pulled me in and kissed me. Not hesitant. Not unsure. Full, direct, unmistakable. Like he needed to prove something. Or maybe, like he needed to feel it for himself. The entire room froze. I mean that literally, no movement, no sound, nothing. Just silence. And me? My brain completely short-circuited. Because this was Cameron. My best friend. The straight guy. The one person I had convinced myself I could never have. And he was kissing me. In front of everyone. His grip on my shirt tightened as he leaned in, like he didn't trust himself to stop once he started. For a split second, I didn't react. Pure shock. But then something in me gave in. And I kissed him back. I don't even remember deciding to do it. It just happened. And yeah, that's when the room really lost it. Oh shit! No way! Bro? Voices exploded all at once, overlapping, shocked laughter, disbelief, people literally stepping closer just to make sure they were actually seeing this. But Cameron didn't pull away immediately. Neither did I. It wasn't long. A few seconds, maybe. But it felt like everything. Then he broke it. Stepping back like he'd just come up for air, chest rising and falling hard. And suddenly, the reality of what he had just done hit everyone at once. Including him. The noise rushed back in. What the hell was that? Dude, you said you were straight. Yo, what is going on? Cameron dragged a hand down his face, pacing again, but this time it wasn't controlled. He looked shaken. Like he had just crossed a line he didn't fully understand yet. I stood there, heart racing, trying to process it myself. Because yeah, that wasn't just shocking. That changed everything. Cam? Someone said, half laughing, half serious. You want to explain that? He didn't answer right away. Just stood there, staring at the ground for a second. Then he looked up. And straight at me. Not the crowd. Me. He started then stopped. For once in his life, Cameron didn't have the words. And honestly, that scared me more than anything. You what? Someone pushed. The attention snapped back onto him, And I could see it, the pressure, the eyes, the expectation. He hated that. Always had. And now it was all on him. I don't know, he said finally. That wasn't what anyone expected. What do you mean you don't know? Someone asked. I mean I don't know, he repeated more firmly this time. I didn't plan that. A few people laughed again, but it wasn't mocking, it was confusion, disbelief. Yeah, no shit, one of them said. But like, why? Cameron clenched his jaw. And for a second, I thought he was just going to shut down completely. But then he glanced at me again. And something in his expression shifted. Less panic. More clarity. He exhaled sharply. I needed to know. The room went quiet again. Know what? Someone asked. He hesitated. Then said it. What it felt like. That hit harder than the kiss. At least for me. Because suddenly, it wasn't just some impulsive, drunk mistake. It meant something. Okay, but... Another guy chimed in, frowning. And? Cameron didn't look away from me when he answered. And yeah. Everyone noticed that. I felt it, he said. Simple. But the weight behind it? Not simple at all. No one spoke. No one joked. Because now it wasn't just shocking. Now it was real. Dude, someone muttered. You're serious? Yeah, Cameron said. Then, quieter. Yeah, I think I am. My chest tightened. Because I could see it happening. Right there. In front of everyone. Cameron, my straight best friend, was trying to make sense of something he had probably never even let himself think about before. And somehow, I was right in the middle of it. Jordan? Someone said, pulling the attention toward me now. You good, man? I blinked, snapping out of it slightly. Yeah, I said automatically. But that wasn't entirely true. Because everything felt different. The room. The people. Him. Cameron stepped closer again. Slower this time. More aware. And when he spoke, his voice was lower, meant just for me, even though everyone could hear it. That wasn't just me, right? He asked. I swallowed. No, I said honestly. It wasn't. And he knew it. A small, almost relieved exhale left him. Like he needed that confirmation more than anything. But the situation? Still very public. Still very messy. Okay. One of our friends clapped his hands awkwardly. This is a lot. No kidding. Someone else added. Are we just gonna stand here or? Should we give them space or? Voices started overlapping again, the tension shifting into chaotic energy. But Cameron didn't move away. Didn't break eye contact. And I realized something in that moment. The shocking part wasn't just the kiss. It wasn't even that he did it in front of everyone. It was this. He wasn't backing down. Not from them. Not from me. And that was only the beginning. At some point, people started backing off. Not completely, of course not. They were still watching, still whispering, still trying to piece together what the hell they had just witnessed. But the intensity shifted. Someone turned the music up again. Someone else dragged a few people back into the living room. The party tried to recover. It didn't. Not really. Because every few seconds, I could feel eyes flicking back toward us. Toward Cameron. Toward me. And Cameron? He hadn't moved. Still standing in front of me. Still way too close. This is insane. I muttered under my breath. Yeah, he said. But he didn't sound like he regretted it. That was the problem. Cam, you just... I exhaled, running a hand through my hair. You just kissed me in front of everyone. I know. You said you were straight. I know that too. I stared at him. Then what the hell is this? For the first time since everything happened. He actually hesitated. Not panicked. Not confused in the same way as before. Just thinking. I don't think it's as simple as I thought it was, he said finally. That wasn't a small statement. Coming from him? That was huge. I let out a short, disbelieving laugh. Yeah, no kidding. Another beat of silence. Less heavy now. But still charged. So what now? I asked. He looked at me like the question hit deeper than I intended. I don't know, he admitted again. At least he was consistent. I shook my head slightly. You don't get to just say that after doing something like that. I didn't exactly plan it, he shot back. No, but you meant it. That stopped him. Because yeah. He did. We both knew it. I needed to know if it was just in my head, he said, quieter now. And? His eyes met mine again. It's not. That sent something straight through my chest. Not dramatic. Not explosive. Just real. Okay, I said slowly. So what does that mean for you? He exhaled, glancing away for a second, toward the party, the people, the noise. Then back at me. It means I've probably been ignoring something for a while, he said. I raised an eyebrow. Since when? He let out a small, almost embarrassed laugh. I don't know, recently I guess. Recently? Yeah. I crossed my arms slightly. You expect me to believe that? I'm serious, he said. I just didn't think about it like that. I studied him. Because this wasn't some joke. He wasn't playing it off. He was actually trying to figure it out. Right here. Right now. Including tonight? I asked. His jaw tightened slightly. Especially tonight. That made my heart kick again. Because that meant something. More than something. Cam, I said, lowering my voice a bit. You realize this isn't just some experiment, right? I know. Because I'm not. I stopped myself, then forced it out anyway. I'm not someone you just try things with. That hit him. Harder than anything else I'd said. I know, he repeated, more serious now. I'm not treating you like that. Then what are you doing? He stepped a little closer again. Not impulsive this time. Intentional. I'm trying to be honest, he said. With me or with yourself? I asked. He held my gaze. Both. That answer? Yeah. That one got me. Because it didn't feel like a line. It felt real. I've never thought about a guy like this before, he admitted. Not like this. I swallowed. But you are now. Yeah. And it's me. Yeah. Something about hearing him say it so directly. It made everything harder to ignore. We stood there for a second, just looking at each other. The noise of the party fading again in the background. Do you regret it? I asked. The question slipped out before I could stop it. Cameron didn't answer right away. And that pause? It scared me. But then... No, he said. No hesitation this time. No, I don't. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Good, I muttered. He tilted his head slightly. You! I shook my head. Not even a little. That got a small smile out of him. The first real one since everything went down. And yeah, that did something to me. Reality crept back in again. Everyone's still watching, you know, I said. Yeah, he replied, glancing around briefly. Let them. I raised an eyebrow. That doesn't sound like you. Yeah, he said. Well, tonight's been a lot of things that aren't like me. Fair enough. Another pause. We should probably get out of here, he added. That caught me off guard. What? Just for a bit, he said. I can't think straight with all this. He gestured vaguely toward the crowd. Going on. That actually made sense. Too much noise. Too many eyes. Too much pressure. Yeah, I said slowly. Okay. He nodded once. Then, without overthinking it this time, he reached for my wrist. Not pulling. Just holding. Grounding. Come on, he said. And just like that, We walked out together, leaving behind the party, the whispers, the stares, and stepping into something neither of us fully understood yet, but both of us felt. The second we stepped outside, everything felt quieter. Not silent, cars passed in the distance, faint music still leaking from the apartment, but compared to inside? It was like stepping into a different world. Cool air hit my face, grounding me a little. Cameron didn't let go of my wrist right away. And I didn't pull away. We walked down the street without saying anything at first, both of us just processing what just happened, what it meant, what the hell we were supposed to do next. After a minute or two, he finally slowed down. Okay, he said, exhaling. I needed that. Yeah, I agreed. Me too. We stopped near the corner, under a dim streetlight. Not exactly romantic or anything, just a random quiet spot, but it felt private. Like we could actually think. He let go of my wrist then, but didn't step far. Still close. Still in it. That was insane, he said, shaking his head slightly. I huffed out a small laugh. You think? I mean it, he added, glancing back toward the building. Everyone saw that. I noticed. Another pause. Then he looked at me again. And this time? There was no audience. No pressure. Just us. I'm sorry, he said suddenly. That caught me off guard. For what? I asked. For putting you on the spot like that, he replied. I didn't think, it just happened. I studied him for a second. You didn't seem like you regretted it, I said. I don't, he said immediately. Then softer. I just know it wasn't fair to you either. That honesty? Yeah, it mattered. It's fine, I said. I mean, not fine, but. I let out a breath. I'm not exactly mad about it. That got a small smile out of him again. Good. We stood there for a second, the tension still there, but different now. Less chaotic. More real. So, I said, shifting slightly. What does this look like tomorrow? He frowned a little. What do you mean? I mean, was that just a one-time I needed to know thing? I asked. Or. I didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. He understood. And he didn't rush to answer. Which, honestly, I appreciated more than a quick response. I don't think I can go back to pretending nothing happened, he said finally. That was something. Yeah, I said quietly. Me either. Another pause. But I also don't have all the answers right now, he added. I'm not asking for all of them, I replied. Just don't mess me around. That hit him again. I won't, he said. That's the last thing I want to do. I nodded slowly. Can I ask you something? He said. Yeah. Back there. He hesitated slightly. When I kissed you. My heart immediately picked up again. What about it? You didn't hesitate for long, he said. I let out a small breath. Yeah, well. That just instinct? He asked. I shook my head. No, I admitted. That was years of not being able to do that. That landed. I saw it in his face. The weight of it. Damn, he muttered. Yeah. Silence again. But this one? It wasn't uncomfortable. It felt honest. Then Cameron stepped a little closer. Not sudden. Not impulsive. Just intentional. Can I try something? He asked. My heart jumped. You already did, I said, half joking. He smirked slightly. Yeah, but that was different. I knew what he meant. This time? No crowd. No pressure. No proving anything. Just us. Okay, I said quietly. That was all the permission he needed. He stepped in fully this time. Slower. Giving me time to pull away if I wanted to. I didn't. And when he kissed me again? It wasn't like before. Not intense. Not rushed. Not reckless. Just real. Soft. Careful. Intentional. And somehow, that hit even harder. Because this time, he wasn't trying to prove anything. He just wanted it. When he pulled back, it wasn't abrupt. Just enough to look at me. And yeah, there it was again. That look. But now, I understood it. That felt different, he said quietly. Yeah, I replied. It felt right. That word stuck. Right. I searched his face, making sure he meant it. He did. Okay, I said, exhaling slightly. So, what now? He smiled a little. Not confident like usual. Just genuine. I think, he said, we take this one step at a time. I nodded. Yeah, I can do that. And for the first time that night, everything didn't feel like it was falling apart. It felt like something was actually starting. Not perfect. Not simple. But real. And honestly, that was enough. We didn't rush back inside. Actually, we didn't go back in at all. Instead, we ended up walking. No destination, no real plan, just moving through quiet streets while everything slowly settled into place. It felt weirdly normal. Like we'd done this 100 times before. Except now, everything meant more. Every glance. Every small pause. Every step a little too close. So, Cameron said after a while, hands in his pockets. Best birthday ever? I laughed under my breath. Yeah, real subtle. Hey, I delivered something unforgettable. He smirked. You definitely did, I muttered. We walked in silence for a few seconds. Comfortable this time. My phone's probably blowing up right now, I said. Oh, 100%, he replied. Group chat's gonna be insane. I groaned. I don't even want to look. Same, he admitted. They're never letting this go. They saw everything, I said. Yeah, he nodded. And honestly? I glanced at him. What? I don't really care. That surprised me. Because Cameron? He always cared what people thought. At least a little. You don't? I asked. He shook his head. Nah, not about this. I studied him for a second. You've changed a lot in like an hour, I said. He huffed out a laugh. Yeah, well, tonight kinda forced it. Fair. Another quiet moment passed. Then he slowed down slightly, looking at me again. Are you okay with all this? He asked. The question was simple. But it mattered. Yeah, I said honestly. I mean, it's a lot. But I'd rather deal with this than keep pretending nothing's there. He nodded. Same. We stopped again, this time near a small park, empty, dimly lit, calm. And for the first time all night, there was no chaos following us. Just quiet. I keep replaying it, he admitted. The kiss? I asked. Yeah. I smirked slightly. Which one? He rolled his eyes. Both. Good answer. He smiled, then shook his head a little. I didn't expect it to feel like that. Like what? He looked at me for a second before answering. Like something I don't want to ignore. That hit. Deep. Because it wasn't just curiosity anymore. It wasn't just a moment. It meant something to him now. You don't have to figure everything out tonight, I said. I know. But you can't pretend it didn't happen either. I'm not going to, he replied. And I believed him. That was the difference. He wasn't running from it. From me. From whatever this was becoming. Jordan, he said after a second. Yeah? He hesitated, then stepped closer again. Not rushed. Not uncertain. Just steady. I meant what I said, he added. About not messing you around. I know. I'm serious, he said. You matter too much for that. That one got me. Because coming from him? That wasn't something he said lightly. Okay, I said quietly. He held my gaze for a second longer. You're really okay with taking this slow? He asked. I nodded. Yeah. As long as it's real. It is, he said. No hesitation. And somehow, that was enough. We stood there for a moment, either of us in a hurry to move. Then he bumped his shoulder lightly against mine. Also, he added, a small grin forming, I still can't believe you've been into me since high school. I groaned. Please don't start with that. That's insane, man. He laughed. All those years and I had no idea. Yeah, well, I had self-control. Guess I didn't, he muttered. I smirked. Yeah, no kidding. He laughed again, shaking his head. And just like that, it felt normal again. Different, but normal. We started walking back slowly, not really talking about the party anymore. About what people would say. About what happens next in some big, dramatic way. Just being there. Together. And as we got closer to the apartment, I realized something. Yeah, people were shocked. Yeah, everyone was gonna talk about it. Yeah, nothing would be exactly the same after tonight. But honestly, that wasn't the part that mattered most. The part that stayed with me was the moment he didn't pull away. The moment he chose to kiss me again, without anyone watching. The moment he decided not to ignore it. Not to ignore me. And as we reached the building, Cameron glanced at me one more time. Ready? He asked. I exhaled, then nodded. Yeah. Because whatever came next, we weren't walking into it alone anymore. And somehow, that made all the difference.